Oi, oi, hello and welcome to a slightly different GG.CO.UK video. Glorious Goodwood is nearly here. There are 5 days of action-packed racing. There's some seriously good quality horses on show. And with it being such a prestigious festival, it is targeted by quite a few trainers and sometimes quite a few horses too. So I think it's important to look at what's happened in the past to see if we can predict what's going to happen in the future. And by the future, I mean the next week, the next coming days. Like I say, there's 5 days of action-packed racing, some real high-quality horses on show, and the trends that we're about to show you in this video, I think are going to allude to numerous winners. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm sat to the side. That's by design. I'm not just gone a little bit wonky. I'll be putting up on this side of the screen the cheat sheets that we have got available. We've got days 1, 2, and 3 already published. By the time this video goes out, days 4 and 5 will be up there. But fear not, I will read out the details for those ones, but I'll pull the visual up because it's nice to see it, but there's a link in the description for you to go and download those. They've been nicely created so that you can save them on your phone. And on top of that, not just the cheat sheets are in there, but all the background stats that went into making those cheat sheet quotes. You'll be able to find that in the link as well. So make sure you do check out the links below. You can come back to this each day of the festival to see how things are going on. Yes, it may find us a few winners, but it's probably not going to find us every single winner. However, just because there may be days where we might not do as well, I would definitely pay attention to looking at these. They should be like sort of forming a part of your assessment of a horse race and your assumptions of who may win, because trends are there for a reason. Trainers are creatures of habits, the same as horses are too. So enough of the waffle within there. Let's just make sure there's 3 things you guys are doing. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you're already subscribed to GG.CO.UK. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure you do that straight away. And then either do it now or at the case of each day that I go through here, mention a comment in below of what your strongest fancy would be or an interesting point or fact that you may have for those days racing. But we've waffled enough, let's crack on. So, day 1 at Glorious Goodwood, we have ourselves a number of group races. We've got 3 group races on offer: the Vintage Stakes, the Lennox Stakes, and the Goodwood Cup Stakes. But before that, we kick off with a nice handicap. Now, I'm going to just paraphrase what's on the cheat sheets, but this will give you a nice in for what you want to expect for the type of profile horse it might take to win the races. So, this opening handicap should be aged 4 or 5. They did not win last time out, but they likely ran pretty well. Last ran 25 days ago or less. They have an official rating of between 95 to 102 and bonus points if they last raced in the John Smith's Cup at York. Now moving on to the second race on the card, the first group race, the Vintage Stakes. They will have finished in the top 2 last time out. Ideally, they would have won. Should have 2+ runs this season and probably has been beaten. Hasn't run at Goodwood, has run at 7 furlongs, and pay attention to favourites. They do very well in here. Third race on the card, the Lennox Stakes. They will have had 3 or more career wins, including a group race. They should have 2 or more runs this season, although they were probably beaten last time out. They have an official rating of 110+, and they should be aged 4 or older. Next up, the Goodwood Cup Stakes, the Group 1, the feature race of the day. They will have won at least a Group 2. They would have last run between 21 days and 40 days ago. They have won this season. Ideally, they won last time out. Look for horses that are aged 4+, a bit of a theme of day 1. Rated 115+, and the horses that have won already at 16 furlongs. Then we've got another juicy handicap to get stuck into. Avoid the first and second favourites. They should not have placed last time out. Has 15 or more career runs, so fairly exposed, and should have 3 or more wins at 5 furlongs. There's a maiden stakes after this, a class 2. They'll probably be 13 to 2 or shorter. They're likely to have already run. If has run, will have been in a double figure sized field and will have been at 6 furlongs. Ideally, if they did run, they ran in the last 4 weeks. Closing the card with a fillies handicap, will have run at 1 mile, likely to have run in the last 3 weeks and won this season, probably has 6 or fewer career runs. If ran in a handicap last time out, they should have been beaten. So that's your day 1 stats. We'll peel up day 2 to the side right now. Good action again, right? We're going to get the blend of handicaps and group races. Kicking off with another handicap at the start of it. Class 2, they'll have 2 or more runs and has been beaten this season. Top 3 last time out. They've won at 12 furlongs. Last ran between 21 and 41 days ago. And if drawn in stall 5 or lower, it is a massive bonus. That draw bias you'll see in a few of these trends can be prevalent, but it tends to be at certain distances. So again, you can prove anything with facts, but I'm teeing yourself up for the ones that I found in here. Second race on the card is a Group 3, the Oak Tree Stakes. They did not win last time out. They last ran 21 days ago or more. Has run at 7 furlongs and ideally would have won at that trip. Is aged 3 or 4, has 3 to 5 career wins. Then we've got the Molecombe Stakes, another Group 3. They will have won a race. They'll be priced 8 to 1 or shorter. But really, look at the first 2 in the betting. And favourites, they typically just will at least place. Will have been beaten if they've had more than 1 run coming into this race. Then we've got the feature race, the Sussex Stakes, the Group 1. 2 or more runs this season is required. Last run 43 days ago or less, so pretty much in the last 6 weeks. At least placed last time out and has won this season. They should have 4 plus career wins, with at least 2 plus group wins. So that was 4 career wins and 2 group wins in there too. We've got a fillies handicap coming after this. This is some seriously good race. We're only on to day 2. Ran 18 days ago or less. They have won this season. Already has run at 10 furlongs. Has an official rating of 86 or higher. And run in a class 3 or better last time out. Then we've got a fillies condition stake. Loads of races for the ladies. They will have run at 5 furlongs last time out and won, if not running in group company. Comes from the top 3 in the betting. Has won at 5 furlong and preferably ran in a class 2 or better last time out. So fairly obvious within there. And I say fairly obvious, like the cream does rise to the crop. Quite wordy in there, but again, you look at the description. I'll give you the background stats in there. You can make your own minds up from in there. We close day 2 with another handicap. They will not have won, but will have 4 plus runs this season. So will not have won this season, but will have 4 plus runs this season or just 1 run. Should have raced at Goodwood before and respect Richard Hannon trained first strings. Now, again, in the article, there's a reference to his return on investment or his pound level stake. This is a race that a trainer particularly farms. There's another couple as the week goes on, but this is one that you need to pay attention to. As I say, link in the description. All the details are in there. Day 3 trends. Again, we're going to pull this little graph up. Graph chart, it's a visual, right? The visual's going up. We kick off with a handicap, unsurprisingly. They ran in the last 21 days. Or last run in the London Gold Cup, that's at Newbury. Look for horses rated 90 plus who finished in the top 4 last time out. Then we move on to the first group race of the day, the Marco Richmond Stakes, a Group 2. Will be in the first 3 in the betting. Probably has been beaten this season. Also ran inside the last 30 days and ideally won last time out. So you're looking for a horse that's been beaten this season, but preferably won last time out. Gordon Stakes, another group race after, Group 3. They ran 21 days ago or more, so not in the last 3 weeks. They're likely to have an official rating of 104 plus, has raced at 12 furlongs, but doesn't need to have won at that trip. And look to those with just 2 or 3 career wins. Then we're on to the feature race of the day, the Group 1, the Nassau Stakes. Will have been beaten this season. So Group 1 race, you're probably thinking this is mad. I'm going to be penalising horses that are unbeaten. But trends would say that you would expect a horse to have been beaten that goes and wins this race. Should have had 3 or more runs this season, finished top 2 last time out and has already won this season. Preferably has an official rating of 111 plus. So again, I've paraphrased on these cheat sheets for the quotes that are in there that I think are the most important tips and trends that you need to follow. In the articles themselves, which again, they're linked below, go and look at the figures that I've put in there. And if you're a bit worried or you don't necessarily trust so much where I'm saying there, a horse has been beaten this season, and then looking at a horse that's unbeaten as a negative, you can pick and choose how you're going to whittle the field down. You may not need all of these to find yourself with 1 or 2 selections in a race, but I'm paraphrasing and I've also said the ones that are the most prolific. So there might have been all of the last 10 have done that, or the last 9 or last 8. Again, look in the description, it's all in there. Then we've got a nursery handicap. So a handicap debutant, which you might expect in a nursery, likely to have had 3 runs this season, has already run at 7 furlongs and ideally they've won at 7 furlongs, at least placed last time out, and big bonus points if the horse is drawn in stalls 4, 5 or 6. Then we've got another handicap after this, likely to be single figure priced, probably has not run at Goodwood, has won this season and has all their wins at 5 furlongs. Close the day 3 with the maiden filly stakes. Probably has just had one run. Ideally finished second or third last time out. Look for those who ran at Newmarket or Newbury, and favourites have a great record. So they're helpful to an extent, but I'm possibly pointing out the obvious in some of these. So the next 2 days, day 4 and day 5, I don't know if I can get the visual up on here, but I'll leave the space there in case we can squeeze it in. We've got some real good racing that's in there, right? Obviously, I'm talking about the races in chronological order. Like I say, just go into the description. You can download each of the cheat sheets, save it, and you can see them in a bit of better order in there. In terms of the names of race, all that sort of stuff, I'm just trying to be quick within here, right? The Goodwood Stakes, over 2.5 miles, preferably carrying less than 9 stone, has 2 or more runs this season, but probably hasn't won. And look for those horses that have had 11 or more career runs. Then we've got the Group 3, the first group race of the day, the Bonham's Thoroughbred Stakes, over a mile. Will have run at 1 mile before and ideally has won. Has not run in the last 21 days, so the last 3 weeks. Has 2+ runs this season. 2 or 3 career wins, but has not already won a group race. Then we move on to the Golden Mile Handicap. Mile by name, mile by nature, over the mile. Will have run in a handicap last time out. 3+ runs this season, aged 4 or older. Has an official rating of 96+. Has won at 1 mile. And a big bonus to be drawn in stall 5 or lower. So again, a very good horse could be drawn outside of those, but history shows us that a lot of the good horses are drawn in those stalls. 8 of the last 10, in fact, were drawn in stall 5 or lower. We've got the King George Qatar Stakes over 5 furlongs, a Group 2. The stats on this type of race will be slightly more warped because you have multiple winners in it, but it is what it is. They will have won this season and likely to have been beaten too. Will be single figure priced and has won a group race. Preferably hasn't run for over 40 days. Then we move on to a new race, a conditions 1 mile 1. It's a class 2 over 1 mile 1. It's a new race, right? So we don't have trends for that. Won't necessarily be within here, but I'm just going through the race order. The next race we do have on day 4 is the Nursery Handicap over 6 furlongs. Likely has just 1 win, has an official rating of between 83 and 85. That was true of 8 of the last 10 winners. Probably a handicap debutant. Again, it's a nursery, you might expect that. But a handicap debutant who has run at 6 furlongs, but not necessarily last time out. 5 of the last 10 winners did not run at 6 furlongs last time out, probably by design. Then we close with a 1 mile 3 handicap. A horse in this race, you want to be looking for someone that carries 9 stone or more, likely to be priced 6 to 1 or shorter, so market bias does help. Ideally finished top 2 last time out and has 3+ runs this season. If raced at about 1 mile 3 furlongs, so I think most of these had run at 1 mile 2.5, then they should have run really well. I think most of them won, maybe 3 of those had won and the other one placed. It's a prolific stat if they have run around there, but it's a bit of a niche trip, so not necessarily every horse will be expected to do that, so you can't knock them down if they haven't done it. Day 5, we finally got there, Saturday. There is some good racing in here. Now, there's been a few races that have been switched around, so the Glorious Stakes has moved from the Friday to the Saturday, and we'll kick off with that race. It's a Group 3, 1 mile 4 furlongs. Favourites go very well in here. Must have finished top 3 last time out, has been beaten this season, and preferably aged 4 or 5. We have a summer handicap, 1 mile 6 furlongs. A horse for this race, you want to be looking for someone that has 3+ runs this season or none at all. 1 last time out or did not place. Has an official rating of 95+, and look for horses who ran 22 days ago or less. We move on to another group race here. It's a Group 2, Lily Langtry Stakes over 1 mile 6. Will have run this season, and that run will have come between 21 and 42 days ago, so between 3 and 6 weeks ago. Comes from the top 3 in the betting and respect favourites, so you'd expect this across 5 days of great action. There are going to be some races where favourites tend to have a good record. Stewards Cart, one of the biggest, hardest handicaps in the world, but it is a bit of a plot race. So they're likely to have won this season, run 3+ times this season, and have an official rating of 101 or more. Preferably has run at Goodwood, and then pay attention to last time out winners. 5 of the last 10 won last time out, which is probably quite staggering when you look at a race of this nature in terms of the competitiveness. We've got a few races that closed off this card. Last year, there was really bad ground, which meant we didn't get to see the renewals of the next 3 races in 2023. But I've still gone back 10 years. So we've gone back to 2013 rather than 2014. So in this race, has 2+ career wins, has 4+ runs this season, run in the last 21 days, run at 7 furlongs last time out, has won this season and carries between 8 stone 9 and 9 stone 3. Respect Charlie and Mark Johnston trains runners. So it used to be just Mark Johnston on his own. He's got an incredible record of this. He sent 12 horses in the last 9 years, I think. 4 winners, 1 second, 1 third, 2 fourths. Gives a 241% return on investment, including an 18-1 winner the last time it was run. So there was no race in 2023, but in 2022, when it changed to Charlie and Mark Johnston, they sent 1 horse in here and they went and won. That's the Whispering Angel handicap. Next up, we've got a Maiden Stakes Class 2. Again, no race in 2023, but this one's got a little bit less fat to chew on, I guess. They've probably run this season and likely to come from the top 3 in the betting. So across a week of 5 days of racing, there may be some races you might want to sit out, unless you've got an opinion of your own. Trends will only get us so far, right? We close the festival with a 1 mile, 1 furlong handicap. Last run in a handicap is crucial and 21 days ago. Should have finished top 3 last time out. Has 4+ runs this season. And if they've run at Goodwood, then they shouldn't have flopped. I mean, preferably 1 or ran really well there. So that wraps up the 5 days of Glorious Goodwoods in a nutshell, right? There is in the description a link to every single day's worth of cheat sheets. So I honestly implore you to just save the little image on your phone. You can go through and see how each particular quote has been created. And I'm not saying to use this as your sole bias for a selection, but, you know, if you're struggling in those place pot legs, or you want to have a little look and just think, actually, I'm not too sure on this race, but I'd like to have a bit of an in, then these will definitely help. Much appreciated for your guys staying this all the way through the video. Like I said at the beginning, make sure you've liked the video, make sure you're subscribed to GG, drop a comment below if you found this useful, and we will see you again very soon.